Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a walk beyond EcoPark and take a look around a more traditional aspect of Vietnam. Now this won't be as crazy as what you might see in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, but it'll definitely have the same flavor. That over there is the road out of EcoPark east, and I'll be walking down that way for about 1 kilometer to get to the next town. Yesterday I did go into Hanoi, and it's really odd to get your temperature checked on the forehead. They're very pleasant and polite, but to still have that done reinforces what this coronavirus has got everyone spooked here in Vietnam, and the children are still off, and it looks like it will be at least April 1st until they return back to school. Looks like maybe 400 yards or so to the next little city center. So it's been kind of a nice walk. A lot of nice trees lining the way. Nice wide sidewalk. It's a little cool today, but that's been par for the course here in January and February in Hanoi. Again, colder than I thought. Glad I brought some jackets and sweatshirts. A lot of new construction going up here. Yesterday in Hanoi, my friends took me around, and 10 years ago or 8 years ago they were studying at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia, and they said the 2-3 years that they were there getting their MBA, when they came back, what was rice fields was a stack of 30-floor apartment buildings, and it was crazy, the boom that's going on here. And I said, where are all the people coming from? And he said, well, they're coming from the countryside. They're leaving the countryside to come to either, well, the 3 big cities are Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, or Da Nang. So people are flocking from the countryside, coming to these big cities to try and make a living. I think in one regard that's kind of sad, because the cities like Hanoi are, you know, for me, an assault to the senses. Of course, I'm born and raised in Nebraska and was living in West Virginia for the last 20 years. So I'm more used to a more rural climate or environment. It's real interesting here, but man, there's just so much going on, so much business. And one of the things that I learned was that foreigners cannot own land in Vietnam. They can own an apartment or something like that, but not a house, not a farm. What they do not want to see happen is the Chinese come in here and buy up everything. And I know that, for example, in the Ukraine, that's exactly what's going on now. Is a lot of the land is for sale, and China's coming in and buying many acres of farmland out. And a good friend of mine from Ukraine says that basically Ukrainians are selling their inheritance by doing that. And my Vietnamese friend agreed that their policy is much wiser than that of the Ukraine. and I would tend to agree. Well, I'm here. I do not know the name of this little city. Maybe it's this Van Guying. I don't know. Maybe that says something else. But just around the corner, we'll be entering some more of traditional type Vietnamese streets. This is a little bit more what Hanoi looks like, but with a lot less traffic. A lot of storefronts, people selling just about anything. Pizza Hip. Yesterday at the mall in Hanoi, there was a Pizza Hut there. Nobody was in it except one couple, and they were eating soup. And my friend Sun said Vietnamese people just don't like pizza. They don't eat it. In there, I don't know if you can see it, it's a car being repaired. My friends yesterday said that it's so cheap to get things repaired in Vietnam. Laptop repair would be about $2. Car is a lot less cheap. I asked about the driver's license, if you need one for the motorbike, and he just laughed. He said no, but you do need a driver's license for the car. Also for ID, he suggested that since I've got a driver's license from West Virginia, that I go ahead and use that information and apply to get a Vietnamese driver's license. I may not ever use it, but he said it would be good for ID. Also, if I have it on a motorbike and I get stopped, technically I'm supposed to have my passport with me at all times, but if you got the ID, there's probably a better chance that they'll let you off. Apparently the police have the ability to either fine you on the spot or confiscate your motorbike. So with the law is not something here I would like to mess with. So, law-abiding citizen here. This is a pretty house, modern, but you'll notice that the houses are really quite narrow and they're built up. My friend's home is 7 stories tall, and he's fortunate. He's actually got an elevator in there, but his father was a construction contractor. So everything is built to, fit into small places and nooks and crannies here. The Vietnamese love their meat. I'm afraid that these critters probably don't have much longer to be around. People are very friendly though. Little kids curious, pointing at me. They know hello. I say hello and how are you, and they say hello, I'm fine. So one of the things I noticed is they love their karaoke here. I'm gonna head back and see what's on the other side of the city center. just walked past some more chickens and was thinking about my friend Emily, who teaches English here, been living here 6 years. We were talking about the varying health standards, and she just said, well, use common sense, and I understand what she said, what she means. One of the interesting things was, even at this big supermarket that we went to, and I ended up buying a yoga mat there, they had a healthy section, and yeah, they had like I think it was Bob's 5 grain and a few other organic oatmeal things, but right next to the organic oatmeal was hot and spicy canned Spam in the healthy section. Gotta love that. One of the things that you do during Tet is you give family members what they call lucky money. And I brought over like $168 of $2 bills, and you put them in these envelopes and you say Chuk Mang Nam Moy, Happy New Year, and you give them these. You do not spend this lucky money for a year. And usually it's just small bills. I think the largest I've seen would translate into about a $20 bill, but that was the largest. But they do something also that's very, very nice and sweet. They actually, at the end of Tet, they come out on the sidewalk and they burn some lucky money for their deceased relatives, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. They burn money on the street, and you can see it in downtown Hanoi. I saw it often happen, and just a way to remember them and to let them know that they're still close and in their heart. Behind me, there is a guard, and all these stores, a lot of them, have a guard to protect their parking space in front of them. Yesterday, my friend's son wanted to stop. His son wanted, guess what? McDonald's French fries. So we were in downtown Hanoi, and we had what we thought was a perfect parking spot just a little bit past McDonald's, but apparently that was owned by an electronics company, because he asked which store we were going into and told him McDonald's, and he told us to keep moving. So but generally they're very helpful. If you say you just need to run in a place for a few minutes and get a Starbucks coffee or something, or Highlands coffee, or whatever it is that you might want, they'll let you, if you let them know you're not gonna be there very long. Usually if somebody stays in the car, they're more inclined to do that. But yesterday at this downtown location, they were not inclined to do it, because it was actually getting real close to rush hours. So he was protecting his space. But they'll even help you if it's a busy street. These people, they'll even help you back up, because this is not a real good example, but this space, like right here in front of this store, if this was downtown Hanoi, there might be loads of motorbikes there and even cars, and then backing out would be trouble. But here, much more rural area. I think we're about 40 kilometers outside of Hanoi. Hello, Xin Chao. How are you? Nice family saying hello to me. Hello. Very nice. Thank you. I'm fine. How are you? You'll be on camera with me? Hi.
We are family.
Emily, hi. What's your name?
What's your name? My name.
Come. Nice to meet you. Okay, I'm Rico. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, just very friendly, very friendly. Today's like February 17th, and it's after 10, and they call this area, this time of the year, pre-spring, welcoming of spring, and flowers are really inexpensive here, and it's just really pretty. A lot of vegetation, but you pay for it with the dampness. I noticed yesterday a little bit of mold starting to grow on one of my suitcases, so I had to clean it. Yesterday I asked about how does the state collect tax. I guess there's like a 11% tax on income, but this is a cash-based society. They don't use debit cards, no credit. I mean, it's all about having cash on you, and that was a little bit of a mistake on my part. I brought over some cash, but was thinking I'd get it out of a ATM. The first bank I went to was one of the largest in Vietnam. I don't want to name them, I don't want to embarrass them, but my transactions kept being declined. Turns out that they didn't have enough money in the ATM for my transaction, and I was just trying to get $100 out. And that was at the downtown location. So it's interesting. Also, business licenses here. You don't really need one unless you're successful. If you're successful, somebody might come knocking on your door and ask for a license that you pay. But until you get to be fairly big, or a competitor sees you as a threat and complains, you can just open up a shop, pretty much anything you want to do, and start selling if you've got roadside space. That place I just ordered this food from was one of the only places I've seen a cat here, the little kitten in front there, so I went in and got something. Good sign. This right here, whatever it is I got, and some rice, cost me 15,000 dong, or about 60 cents for lunch. Well, I guessed right. These are vegetarian and they're very, very tasty. And this rice, it's everywhere, and I've come to realize just how important it is. You have rice noodles, you have thin rice noodles, you have rice vermicelli, you have brown rice noodles, you have thick brown rice noodles, you have thin rice noodles. The other day I was talking with my host Ming, and I was asking her about her most vivid memory growing up, and she said for me to go first, so I told her about the love that I received from my mom and dad. When it was her turn, she surprised me a little bit. She said her most vivid memory was she would have been about 10 years old in 1970, and her parents were teachers at a school for children and in Haiphong, and the U.S. was bombing Haiphong, and her mom was running, but before she started running, she made sure she had grabbed the biggest pot of rice that she could have, because she knew wherever it was they were going to be safe, they were going to need rice for a lot of people. And I thought was really quite touching, and how a country can have a memory like that and still forgive. Back at city roundabout. Gonna head back, process the video. Had a nice little walk today. Okay, a little bit of an addendum here. I am gonna cross the street here. This is not like crossing in Hanoi, but the secret is to get in, step out, have faith, and just keep going. The traffic will adapt around you, or so I'm told. But that's motorbike culture, and here I got lucky. Here I got very lucky. But to do this in Hanoi does take a leap of faith, and not in this cute little town.